All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Professional Brotherhood podcast. And we're doing a bit of a recreation on today's episode. So, for those of you, and I know there's not a lot of you because we're still growing that Clubhouse community, and I know I'm starting to sound a bit like a broken record here talking about Clubhouse, but we got on the first Professional Brotherhood room the other night with all intentions to record the episode. I was so proud of myself. I outsmarted the tech geniuses, only to find out when we were all said and done that I did not outsmart anybody. So today I have with me Pip from 555 Pip Fitness. What's up, Pip? How are you, brother?
What's up, homie? I'm honored to be here. I feel like it's taken forever to get on the Professional Brotherhood podcast.
Yeah.
So this is take two for me because we recorded one the other night. So I got two opportunities.
Or so we thought. We recorded one the
thought.
other night. So I might as well share that story with everybody. So Pip and I have been very, very active on Clubhouse, which is just a cool new technology, and we're trying to grow the firefighting community on the technology. And I thought I figured out that I could record the episode by just simply using the not the screen recording but the voice recording on my iPhone.
You even told other people they should do it this way.
And I even told other people they should do it, and I tested it, or so I thought I tested it. But we had a great conversation, about an hour long. We get all said and done. I'm excited. I get to my desk and I hit the play button on my iPhone, and there's my voice. And when it's time for Pip to chime in, silence.
Just my voice, which everyone will tell you never happens.
Right.
It's time for me to chime in. There is no such thing as silence.
Total silence. So the technology gods got the best of me.
I do know some 555 folks that would really like that ability, though, when it's silence from Pip, because generally speaking, when I speak in those in our private conversations about how the not-for-profit's going to move forward, there's always like, oh my God, what are we getting ourselves into now? Which has kind of been like the past 8 years of my life. So it's an easy way to explain it. So you got a silence version there.
Well, maybe I'll share that. I'll share that recording with them and say, "Here you go, guys. This is the one time Pip has been silent. Do with it what you guys want."
The guys on my shift would like that too, like the kitchen table silence. You know, like my crew would definitely like that for sure.
Oh, that's awesome. So, Pip, I think a lot of my listeners, I know a lot of my listeners know who you are and know about 555, but our reach has grown over the last year, which is amazing. And I know you know that feeling from the things that you do. But for those that may not know who you are, or may not know what 555 is, why don't you introduce yourself and 555 Fitness?
Sure, man. Listen, it's so easy to not know who I am in this, because 555 is way bigger than me, no matter how you look at it. Yeah. But for me, I'm a lieutenant with the City of New Brunswick Fire Department in good old central New Jersey. I've been with them for the past 17 years. I was a volunteer prior to my getting hired as a career. I was a volunteer in Franklin Township for, oh God, I got to do some math now, from a long time ago, buddy. I think 6 years, maybe five or 6 years there. I think I started there. Actually, I started as a volunteer EMS cadet at 16.
All right.
And I was on the EMS path, wanting to do the fire thing, but I'm like, let me check this out, and started working career EMS around 19. I've been a dispatcher, EMT, worked as a paramedic for a few years, and just kind of settled into this career fire gig, and it's been really good for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Minus, as we made jokes, there were some jokes in the clubhouse room about the fact that I ride on the engine and not the ladder truck, as I would love to right now, but that's just not in the cards. So I'm an engine guy. So that's,
somebody's got to put the fire out.
It is true. I mean, the truck guys are really prissy, and we don't want to offend any of their sensibilities when we have to do all the work. So it's funny too, because the guys at work know that I want to get eventually back to the truck. My department is 3 engines and a truck. So usually you have a captain on the truck, and usually the senior captain is the person on the truck, and I'm just a lowly lieutenant. But it's like the biggest joke. I'll pick on the truck guys like there's no tomorrow every chance I get. And then they're like, yeah, until you get that red helmet and you walk across the floor. And I'm like, oh yeah, then the engine's going to be the worst thing in the world. The truck is back to being the best. But I think that's a great part of the fire service, and we're finding that in Clubhouse, right? With that back and forth that we can actually have, as opposed to a podcast where it's just me and you.
Sure.
Now there's 8 different people laughing about that battle we're having, right?
Yeah, absolutely. From 8 different parts of the world, which is amazing.
Yeah, all right. It's like you're talking to a tillerman from Oakland, and finally that night I was like, "Brah, I don't care that you're on a tiller anymore. I know some of these people haven't heard it. I've heard it like 5 times. Please stop saying
it." Yeah. I'm slightly jealous. I've heard it enough. All right,
right. Like,
thank you. Let's move on.
I can't wait till the next time we're in a room and I could say it again just to mess with them. But and I think that's something cool too. You talked about it, is building a community on a new social media platform.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of delves into what 555 is. As much as we are a not-for-profit, that's our main mission. And the mission is to make a healthier emergency services, hence the name fitness in there.
Sure.
But what we've done along that road is we've made this amazing community of people kind of come together.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've told my 555 story on a few other podcasts, and I can definitely tell it here how it grew. But I think one of the things that I always tend to leave out, just because I feel like I've talked too much telling my personal end of how I got involved in this thing, is that, more in the beginning, and by the beginning, I mean like 8 years ago, everybody in the firehouse has kind of a niche.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're a career or volunteer, there's a guy who's a carpenter, there's a guy who is a roofer, there's the EMS guy, whatever you name the guy, and there's always the fitness guy, right?
Yep.
Well, as social media was growing 8 years ago to what it is today, and 555 was coming around, that became a place for all these fitness folks that happen to be firefighters, police, or EMTs to kind of come together. And that community is what's really got us to where we are today.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of us that have been watching it probably since close to the beginning, have seen it grow, and I've seen the community grow, and I've seen it become, much more than just a not-for-profit that does great things, but just a not-for-profit that gives out a bunch of equipment every year. It is almost a community in itself.
It totally is, and it's a community we didn't even know we were creating at the time, and I still don't even know exactly. Like I get to meet people online from around the world, and even some that I finally gotten to meet in person. But it all came through those 3 little numbers, that 555.
Sure.
And it's like the driving force to make this better, to make the emergency services better. So just like I know what you're after with the kind of professional brotherhood and trying to leave it better than you found it, that's really what we're doing. And we just get the added benefit of being like, maybe we save someone's life along the process.
Yeah.
When we get those like transformation stories, because those folks, who knows what could have happened to them if they didn't discover our little page and start to go on a fitness path.
Yeah, for sure. You never know who's watching you, who's paying attention, who's making a change, because not everybody reaches out, right? Not everybody is liking your content. Not everybody is, leaving a comment. There's plenty of people out there that are paying attention to what you're doing, kind of behind the scenes. You're inspiring them to do something different or something better than they were doing yesterday. And, eventually they might, get the nerve to shoot you a DM or leave a comment and say, hey, listen, I've been following you guys for the last 5 years, and I just want to let you know, because of what you put out, because of your content and your community, I lost 50 pounds. I'm a better version of myself, whatever it may be.
Dude, those stories have been the best part of being part of 555 leading up to almost a year ago today, right in the whole you're not leaving your house ever again except to go to work 2020, because they became so commonplace, and not just for me, but for my team, because we would go to all the shows. We had a great thing working with Zoll with the Assault on CPR challenge, and engaging in people. And it started out where people would they would start to like hover around our booth.
Yeah.
And not really come in, but they'd be kind of like hovering and they'd be watching. And it repeated itself a lot. And all of a sudden they would finally come in and they'd be like, I just want to say, I'm really impressed with, like, you're such a cool dude, the way you talk to everybody. Like, I didn't know to approach you, and I was afraid to come near you fitness guys, because I don't feel like I'm really a fitness guy. But I want to let you know that because of your page, I've lost 75 pounds.
Sure.
And you're like, that answer is like, give me a hug. Hey, that's that hey brother moment where when they say that, and it became and not just for me, this is for Bobby, Rob, CJ, the whole 555 team. They'd start to notice it too. And it would almost become, I don't mean to say it in a negative way, but like a little joke between us, like, blue shirt across the way, look. And you see the person kind of like staring in, and you can tell they want to come in and talk to you, but they're just not ready to take that step. And then, you'd see him and you'd be like, blue shirt, it's over there. He's over there now. He's just trying to make his move to know when to come in to talk to us, type thing. But those were so cool. And then I think those people were like shocked at our reaction, thinking like, oh, they heard this a million times. What do they care? And like, I love that, right? Isn't that something I know you must love?
Well, because it's incredibly humbling, right? Like if somebody comes over and says something to you like, hey, I've been meaning to, or I've wanted to, but I don't feel comfortable around you fitness guys, or I don't feel, and look, you're sitting there thinking, dude, I'm just a fireman from New Jersey. Like social media has the ability to kind of put us on this pedestal almost. And some people think that, because you got a lot of viewers, a lot of likes, and you're engaging and what have you, that you're almost untouchable. And the great thing about our community, I haven't met anybody yet, maybe one person, but I haven't met many people in our community that are not humble and willing to have a conversation, and just doing kind of what we're doing, maybe a little bit of a different avenue, but love engaging with people and appreciate it when somebody comes over and says, hey, I listened to your podcast, or hey, I did the workout that you posted, or whatever it may be. It's really humbling.
For sure. I mean, and then again, too, just like you said, the majority of the interactions have been so overtly positive that the negative ones are just kind of like, you probably had a bad day, or you're just a not happy individual all the time type thing. Like, I'm not even gonna, I had a unique one, I don't tell this story very often, but one day I was at one of the shows, and couldn't tell you which one, but I was like in front of the booth, and we always try to keep someone kind of outside of the booth to engage people that are just walking by, because too, if you go back years, people were like, fitness, what's this fitness thing with firefighters? Where now it's a much more common thing. But I happened to kind of stop a man and asked if he had ever heard of us, and kind of gave him the quick little elevator pitch of what we did. And he looked back at me right in the face and was like, son, the good Lord only gave me so many heartbeats. And when he sees fit to take me, that's when he's going to take me. So I'm not going to do anything else but rely on his judgment.
Amen,
and for
brother.
a second, I kind of like looked around, like, did I just get punked? Like, was this like is this like a fireman setup? Because it'd be a really good joke if that was to me. I was like, something's about, and I was like, well,
where's
sir?
Jeremy Donch? Where
right?
Like,
And I'm like, he's just still like staring at me. And I put my hand out and I shook his hand and I said, well, sir, you go ahead about your day and have a great show. And he was like, thank you, and continued on. And I'm like, did that just occur?
Yeah,
If that's the way you want to roll, man, I don't want you on a hose line with me. But hey, you do you, man. I got no complaints.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. But it's all such great stuff, and the interaction is amazing, and I think that's what we've both enjoyed about this, not to keep talking about it, but about Clubhouses, the interactions with other people, just down to earth, firefighters, regardless of where in the world,
I think
sharing info.
I think you and I understand social media well enough to know that it's way more than just a picture. You know, for 555, we've always tried to, sure, the picture is what draws someone in, but it's the copy that we're putting beneath it, or that when we do a lot of reposting, because in all honesty, I don't want people to see what I do every day to inspire them. I want people to see what people all around the world are doing, you know, because you never know who is gonna react well to that. You know, there's definitely a lot of people that do not react well to the way I do things. So why would I want to keep doing that with 555? So we try to change that up a bit. And when you get into this Clubhouse end, though, there are no pictures.
Right.
So it's just the copy. But unlike keyboard cowboying, as I like to call it, you're you, and you have to give that feedback immediately in front of other people. With their ability to comment on that too. So it's kind of one of those, like, you know, I know that there's folks that we have in there that are a little probably afraid to jump into the conversation. Even in last night, I ran a room and my buddy Chris jumped in, and I've known Chris since the beginnings of 555. No clue that he was gonna jump in that conversation last night. And what he said was, as Rob put it, like, you have the winning comment of tonight, right? So that interaction back and forth, I think, is only going to get better. And I think not just on the fitness or motivation and like we talk about, but when we get into the nitty gritty of putting some fires out and talking about tactics and real deal stuff, I think that's going to get us the most meaningful learning experiences out of any of these social media platforms.
Yeah. Well, and again, like you just said, you know, you're forced to be real. Right. It's like having a phone conversation with somebody, which, you know, like how many people, I know lots of people that don't or will do anything they can to not have a phone conversation. Yeah, I look at my own kids, you know, like I look at my son, like if I call my son on the phone, it's like one word, you know, hey, how you doing, buddy? Good. What are you doing? Nothing, you know, but meanwhile, if I text him, it'll be an entire conversation, you know? So it's that generational thing. But, you know, actually engaging with somebody with your voice and allowing them to hear you is so much more genuine than, you know, typing on the keyboard or what have you. You know?
I didn't really think about it that way, but you're right. And even today, I had to have a business conversation. You know, I mean, 555 does a lot of different crazy things. And it was one of those where I'm like, can we talk today? Like, I can't do this over text messaging, you know, like I need to hear what you're saying to me. You need to hear what I'm saying to you. And again, I think with this Clubhouse, if we're talking about, here, we'll use an easy topic we won't fight about, like vent, enter, search, isolate. You know, you want to have that isolate. Like vent, enter, search was a great thing when it came around. I've done it I don't want to say loads of times, but I've done it a lot when I was on the truck. Then somebody was like, shut the door. And I'm like, whoa, like literally like shut the front door, like shut the door of the room. That makes a lot of sense. If the room's not on fire and I'm in there and we know that if I shut the door, the fire doesn't come in here. Damn, well, why wouldn't I do that? You know,
it doesn't just work for the homeowner. It doesn't just work for the homeowner. It works for the firefighter too. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, like, and we have that conversation and you're like, damn, that makes a whole bunch of sense. But I think having that conversation is way better than when that did occur and someone's like, oh, they just want to add another letter to their acronym, or I want to, you know what I mean? Whatever you want. You couldn't get away with that in a Clubhouse room. So I think things like that are good. And I tell people all the time, you know, with 555, we get a lot of messages, like you said, DMs asking for advice, asking for kind of like consult, whatever it is they're asking. And there's some things that I can give back very simply, and, you know, try this, try that. I know a lot of times volunteers ask the question, you know, well, we're not in the station like a career department. So how do we engage our members in fitness? So I have a really simple one for that. I'm like, do you have a dry erase board or a chalkboard? I'm like, you know, write push-ups for the month and write your name, Brian, and you write 10. And then I see your name up there and I'm like, you did 10 push-ups this month. So below you comes Pip and I write 12. Because I just did 12 push-ups, and you make it a monthly contest so that when people, whenever you're in the station, do some push-ups. And I've gotten such positive feedback about that simple challenge, because competitiveness,
Sure.
Do push-ups whenever you can. So we have those ones, but there's other days where they'll ask a question and legitimately I'm like, here's my cell phone number, call me.
Yeah.
Because I cannot type this to you in any
Right.
way that's going to make sense, or I don't want to come off condescending in a text.
Right.
So that verbal communication is huge. And I think it's a big part of fitness too, is being able to verbally communicate to others.
Well, and you know what else? It keeps it genuine too, because it's very easy for somebody to be like, what you just call, keyboard cowboy, keyboard warrior, whatever you want to call them. It's very easy for somebody to do that. There's no consequences. They could just drop the bomb and walk away, right? Never say anything again, but when you have to unmute yourself and actually say to a room of people, hey, this is how I feel about this. Well, that's great. Awesome. Share your opinion, but be ready to get opinions back, right?
Yep.
And you may or may not like what you hear, but if I'm going to drop a bomb in a room with guys like yourself and Aaron Quinn and Bobby Eckert and Sean Egan and like all these freaking guys that I know what the hell they're talking about, get ready for some answers, because
and you may not like them
and you might not like them, but you're going to get them,
Yeah.
So it's great. It's great.
Dude, I think I did that with you actually when you asked me about trying to start a not-for-profit. I'm like, I think we should just talk on the phone about this.
Yeah. Well, actually, it was much shorter than that. You were right. I think
you caught it really quickly when I said, "Don't just run away." Like, don't start. You don't want to do that.
You weren't very encouraging. I'll tell you that.
It's not. It's not an encouraging road, man. I have the worst hobby ever. I said Rob and I want to start a bowling team. I'm going to give up 555 and we're just going to bowl on Wednesday nights from virtually. We're going to bowl he's going to bowl in Virginia. I'm going to bowl in New Jersey. And that's what we're going to do. Well, it's better hobby.
It's funny because, look, there's things you see out there that, like your guys' avenue is fitness and, getting fitness to, and that's what we're going to talk about next is the grant, but, getting fitness to departments that need that kind of equipment through the grant process. But recently, and you saw it on my social media, and this kind of went along with my idea at the time, was small departments in need of just everyday firefighting stuff,
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe it when I posted on my social media that I had, like 15, 20 sets of gear to get rid of that was surplus by my fire district, that was outside the NFPA. And I really wasn't comfortable giving it to any, I wasn't really comfortable giving it away to somebody that was going to put it in service as, interior firefighting gear. And holy crap, I could not believe the response when I threw it up there on social media saying, I got 20 sets of gear to give away. I'm not shipping it. Come pick it up. It's not NFPA compliant. I don't care what you do with it. Basically, that was the gist of my post. And I'm still getting messages today from this morning. I got a message from the Philippines, please, do you have anything, please? It was unbelievable and overwhelmed. So, there's so many needs out there, and that's where I was going with my thought, but you quickly talked me out of it. So on to the next story.
it allowed you to spend more time on Clubhouse because listen, it's really hard. And 555 started as an idea and it grew into this, let's try to do a little bit of good. And I mean, I'm legitimately, I don't want to say legitimately running a full-time business, but 555 could have very well become a full-time occupation for people.
Sure.
If we wanted to go that route.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously that person would not be me. But there is potential to take a not-for-profit to a whole nother level. And then absolutely. you have to draw your line as to what you can do.
Yeah.
How many people you're going to bring in to help you do that, and where that's going to go. And like you were saying, how you put one little post up and you're getting these messages like, how the poor person in the Philippines really wants that gear, but they're not coming to pick it up from you. You know what I mean? And more than likely, if they can't get the gear there, or like, they don't have the money to purchase that gear, they probably don't have the money to ship that gear.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So I just called out two huge problems with your idea where you're like,
well, and the guy that ended up taking it was basically a curator for a department in Chile, and that's what he does. He's formerly from there. He goes out, finds this stuff and he gets it to them, you know? So it was pretty cool to see that.
Oh, it's awesome to be able to be a part of that. I mean, listen, we have some stuff in our firehouse. We're doing another clean out now. And I'm like, Dan, sign the paper. If someone signs the paper, we'll give you anything you want. Type thing. I know that's what works with your guy.
Absolutely. So let's talk about, let's dive into the grant a little bit. It's called a grant, but one thing that I've learned in talking to you is, you know, don't be afraid by the word grant when it comes to the 555 fitness grant, because the application is, as you put it, basically a Google form. All right. Which if your kids are in school, they know what a Google form is, you know. But yeah, let's talk about the grant and what's going on with that this year and why everybody should be applying for this grant if there's a need.
For sure. I mean, and that's something too, again, not really knowing what we were doing when we started 555, like we called it a grant because that seemed like a good thing to call it. And then we learned along the way. All right, buddy. Little man, tell me which floor he's going to be on my house here. He likes to do that. He's going down. What's up now? He's going down. You know, we were like, we'll call it a grant. That sounds like a good idea. And over time, we've learned that, you know, certain federal entities can't apply for grants because it would be the feds helping the feds. But we're like, no, it's a private grant. I mean, I don't think I've ever said this on a podcast, so you get a first, but like even our name, 555 Fitness, we probably should have been the 555 Fitness Foundation, because when people see us, they think we're a business. Yeah. And then we have to explain that we're a not-for-profit. Whereas if you heard the 555 Fitness Foundation,
you'd immediately
checkbook. Checkbook, I'm out. You know what I mean? Like it's just a different world when that comes to it. But that's what we set out to do with our mission, was to provide fitness equipment to departments that either have zero or very little. So 8 years ago, that started with a $3,000 grant award with a few fitness partners. The biggest one at that time being a company called Again Faster, who we don't work with anymore. But, you know, in the beginning, they returned an email, you know, that we sent out basically asking if anybody wanted to partner with us. And they jumped on board. And we had a very great partnership there for a few years and just grew different ways. But that was $3,000. And at the time, it was only available for fire departments. Fast forward 8 years, we have given away over $100,000 worth of functional fitness equipment. We now offer the grant to fire, police, EMS, dispatch centers, pretty much any type of agency that has to do with emergency response, wildland included. So you kind of name it, because again, not thinking we've had, I don't know if you have these guys up by you. There's a few in New Jersey where it's volunteer rescue only.
Yeah, no, it's not very prevalent I don't think in New York at all, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
They exist and more. And I know there's a lot in Virginia where they don't do EMS, they don't do fire, they just do rescue. Right. So we've had them reach out, hey, can we apply? You know, the dispatch centers reached out because they said, you know, we're a regional dispatch center. So if we won this fitness equipment, all the people in our region would be able to come and work out here. Right. So that keeps expanding as the need kind of keeps expanding. So anybody can apply. Application is open now until the end of March. So March 31st for round 1. Then we have 2 more rounds this year that you can apply for as well. When
did you say round 1 goes to?
April 1st.
April 1st.
March 31st. April. There's 31 days in March. I'm so bad with that. But I think there's 31 days in March.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm not sure.
April 1st. We close on April 1st. I pulled up, went back to the website to be 100% sure.
Okay.
So yeah, that's and literally it is a Google form. You know, we ask you some demographic questions about your department. We ask for pictures of what you have for fitness equipment, because we've seen things like Globo gyms and firehouses. We've seen an app. We got one that was just an empty room. What is your fitness equipment? And it was just an empty room.
Yeah, they built us the room, but they didn't give us the equipment. Right.
I would so you know, I'm really bad with this, and we haven't always been the best stewards of our record keeping. Let's just say we have all the applications, but we just recently, Google has become a life send to us prior to 2020. And I owe that to CJ Hilliard, our grant coordinator, who is the queen of Google anything, if you ask me, where we're really starting to catalog everything.
Okay.
But we're over 500 applications. And that sentiment that you just said, they built us the room but got us no equipment.
Yeah.
At least a solid 15% to 20% of applicants have said that.
Oh, I bet.
Which is crazy to think that you got the room but not the equipment.
Right. And I know the other night when we were talking, one of the things that you stressed was, first of all, applying for the grant, right? Just getting it in, just apply. Regardless of whether or not you think you're going to win anything or not win anything, apply for the grant. And then you also stressed, telling your story, that telling your story was very, very important to your success with the grant.
Yeah, that has been the number one thing that has, I don't know how to say the words I want to say to come out of my mouth, that has picked the winner, has been the story that they're telling. And it's not that we're looking for anything too certain, but we are looking for something that is going to be a good department that's going to be a good steward of this equipment. And honestly, I think we're at 37 grants now given away. I don't think two stories have ever been exactly alike. Where we've given them to large career departments, we've given them to small volunteer departments, a college department. There's always a different story, but they always are telling it so well that they're going to be a good steward of this equipment. And that's really what we're looking for.
Sure. Well, and that, somebody with a good story, and especially somebody that wins that has a good story, is going to help to further promote the grant. Not that you're looking for them to promote, but they're promoting the lifestyle. They're promoting that healthier firefighter fitness lifestyle, and they see that, look, if it's whatever, it's the department next door to me, and I'm like, oh, look at that, they actually, they applied and they were successful, and holy shit, I guess I should have applied, because maybe I would have been successful.
I'm not even pulling punches. We are looking for people who want to promote the mission of 555.
Sure.
We are looking for that because, like you just said, you don't know who you can inspire, right? We don't want someone to win this and be like, mine, this is all my equipment, I don't want to share. The Rapides won the VetWad grant. I spoke about them a little bit the other night. Hang on one second.
Yep, no problem.
Sometimes life gets in the way, or we can edit that out or not, or whatever. But
that's all right.
I jump right back.
We don't. One thing here, we don't edit. So.
No, there's no editing. I like no editing.
We don't edit.
No editing. I couldn't do the editing. Hence why the Size Up is on the National Fire Radio platform, because they do the editing for me. But Rapides, they had said it. I don't know if they said in their initial application. I'd really have to go back and check, so don't quote me on it. But they've opened up their gym to their mutual aid departments.
Yeah, you mentioned that, and I thought that was unbelievable.
Like, isn't that a great way to hang out with your mutual aid peeps? That's not like, oh, bring an engine over, let's train, let's I don't know. There's always issues. Whenever you're working with mutual aid, as much as we all like to pretend like it's kumbaya with everybody, we know it's not. But hey, come over and work out with us. Come use this air runner that we got. You know what I mean? And then while they're there, they're telling them how they got it, and that department, why not apply?
Right. Well, and somebody in our conversation the other night was talking about, one step even further, opening their fire station gym to the community, which that's something I don't think I've ever heard before. Obviously you have to have the room and the ability to do that, and a lot of things in place in order to do that. But I thought that was, as a coming from a department that is, very involved in the community and has a lot of things constantly going on that brings people over to the firehouse. That was something I had never thought of, and I thought was, impressive for sure.
Well, that department that you're talking of, that we talked the other night, that is a Galax, Virginia. They did not win a 555 grant either. They just came on our radar because, well, there's a really good story behind it all, but we'll save that one for another podcast. But,
Gotcha.
quick little social media type thing. They had hired some local personal trainers, a husband and a wife, to help them, get their program off the ground and work with their members. The husband and wife's, one of their sons became a junior volunteer. One of their other sons has Down syndrome, but loves firefighters. And Ty would always be there with them. And, it became more of a family thing.
Sure.
And one of the reasons we became further close with them was because they did, for, I believe it was Tyler's birthday, like firemen for a day. And they took him to the local fire academy like it was a call. And they had a controlled burn and did what they could, but it was just amazing that they did that. And
right.
what Ty's parents started doing was doing fitness classes for their other friends from the Down syndrome community. And then that led into more interaction with the fire department, and that led into an American Ninja Warrior challenge, and that led into, so it was using this fitness to bring more people in to teach CPR, fire safety, fitness, all these things together. It just makes for a better community. And it's definitely harder to do something like that in a career department, but in a volunteer department, you're looking for those members of the community to step up in one way or another. So why hide from them? Why not engage them more? And fitness is a great way to do that.
Absolutely. Look, we talk about recruitment all the time. Like, it's probably the topic I'm always talking about. Last night prior to getting in the room, I was working on a recruitment program. We're always working to talk about recruitment. And if you're in a small town that doesn't have any sort of a fitness facility to go to, there's no CrossFit gym, there's no functional fitness gym, there's no functional fitness gym, there's no Orange Theory, there's not even a family owned whatever that you can go to, but the fire station has a fitness facility. You should be tapping into that, because that's something that could be bringing people in the door that, all right, so what? They're joining to use the gym, but guess what? You might be picking up a very valuable volunteer in that process.
Yeah, listen, on the career end of it, I mean, we do recruitment, just like anybody else would.
Sure.
And we have Rutgers University where I work, and I'm like, why? When we go out for recruiting, I'm like, why aren't we going to these intramural sports clubs and taking these people that are athletes in college and probably aren't going to get a job when they graduate, because that's just the way life works these days.
Sure.
And being like, hey, you're already in really good shape. Want to come do this job because it's kind of cool, and we need people that are in shape. Like not the round shape, almost one less worry, like that's another recruiting zone for it. So using fitness as a recruiting tool, I know out west, San Diego and places like that, they do all kinds of I know San Diego because I know a lot of firefighters in San Diego. They do like a girls empowerment camp with a lot of the female San Diego firefighters. But a lot of that part is fitness together, because, you can't have 14-year-olds putting out fires, but you can do a lot of good fitness stuff with them and get them into that method. So it's, again, using fitness to bridge gaps between your communities.
Yeah, absolutely. What else on the grant? Are we missing anything on the grant? Did we not hit anything on it?
Well, there's a lot we can hit on it, right?
Yeah,
but you want to apply because, well, here's the big one. So I said this early on, and then I didn't get into it. The first grant was a $3,000 worth of fitness equipment.
Right.
One question we do get a lot is, do I get the money or do I get equipment? And you get equipment, and you really don't get to pick your equipment. We have it all predetermined. Right. So that's on our website, 555fitness.org. But what needs to be mentioned is that this year, it's over $15,000 worth of equipment and training in each grant. So you're getting, and the complete list is on the website, but you're getting, numbers wise, maybe it's like $11,000 worth of fitness equipment to come to your fire station. Or police department or EMS station. I'm so bad at still. We've been doing it for 2 years now, and I'm just so pro fireman that I just keep always saying that. It's a bad part. I even see you have the thin red, thin blue line thing behind you, and I don't remember that. We want to help the cops too. But when we talk training, we get 2 seats in an O2X workshop. of your choosing, as long as the department agrees and things like that. You do have to cover the travel cost, but
Right.
that's a week's worth of training for 2 of your members. That is one of the currently, I guess, I don't know what the word would be, premier emergency service fitness classes you can take.
Mm-hmm.
This year too, through Clubhouse, our friend Tara from Flame Decon Soap is providing
Yep.
50 bars of soap. Fire Department Coffee is providing a year's worth of coffee, so 12 pounds of coffee. That just goes into the grant. So you're getting more than just fitness equipment. And it's not like, oh, here's some jump ropes, go work out. I mean, Rep Fitness this year put in a set of dumbbells, 5 to 50 pounds with the rack. Nice. And as you'll see now that you're into street parking, what you can do with dumbbells, but dumbbells are not easy to find right now when it comes to fitness equipment.
Definitely
There's
not.
months waiting lists for those. So that's something that would be coming to you too.
Yeah, that's great. And one of the things that I had mentioned in our conversation, so we talked about, the agencies out there that have a room with nothing in it. But one of the things that we also talked about were agencies that have a room, but it's a little tiny room. And you said, you mentioned, don't let that, deter you from applying, because and putting that in your application that, look, you would really like to, to apply for this, but you don't have the room for $15,000 worth of equipment because there were other things that went on through the year that you may qualify for, or may be lucky enough to get involved with.
So it's true. We started out with our own grant. The Strength is Our Foundation grant, but over the years, we've had corporate partners do their own specific fitness grant, or even other not-for-profits like VetWad that we gave Rapides to. VetWad is an online fitness competition. They're actually doing one right now. The Jolly 15, I believe it's called. It is for a group of veterans that were involved, a helicopter crash in, I want to say Afghanistan. Don't quote me on it all, but they do a lot of events, online events throughout the year. Mm-hmm. And they wanted to do one to support 555. And they asked if they could help a department that was kind of veteran centric in one way or another. And through our applications, our past applications, we were able to find a few that in the application, they pointed out that they have several veterans. Mm-hmm. And the folks over at VetWad, their board picked Rapides, and they were the beneficiary of $12,000 worth of fitness equipment and training that was raised through VetWad. I do know for a fact there's another organization that's going to be doing that this year. I'm not allowed to talk about anything more than that yet.
Yep,
but it's one of those stay tuned to the pages. Mm-hmm. And we've also done some that are, I know 2 things that I'm not allowed to say then about that. Sometimes you remember stuff, but geographically related too, where, a company may say, I want to support emergency responders in the state that I'm based in.
Sure.
We can page back through hundreds of applications and be like, hey, hey, Brian, these guys in New York, you submitted an application. This company in New York, all they want you to do is one more line, or, what I mean? One paragraph, right. And then they're going to pick the winner. So,
right.
That's a big thing. That's another reason to apply. You just never know. Ship sandbags to Alaska. I mean, we did that once too. So
yeah. That's awesome. All right. So the when it comes to the grant, I think the message we want to get across to those listening is apply for it, right? Go to the webpage, pull up that Google form, tell your story, get your pictures, and get it in, right? Because even if you don't win this year and you apply again next year, there's points for repeat appliers, right? Things like that.
There's points for repeat appliers now. Again, CJ has been the just queen, king, ace at trying to figure out ways to get this equipment into the hands of more people.
And little known fact, nobody in New Jersey has won your
little known fact. Right? No one in New Jersey. We came close once. So with that being said too, and here I am, right? I'm on your podcast. We're obviously homies, and I'm telling you to apply for your department, right?
Right.
And so, being a guy from New Jersey, I'm always looking for angles and things that I can make any angle possible. It's me. It's what I do. We took the angle out of the 555 grant. So knowing me has nothing to do with you winning, because I have nothing to do with picking the winner to begin with, which I realized, I don't know if it was the end of last year when we were doing it, but I've never picked a grant winner. It's just never been my thing. So what we do, and I don't even do this now, but we go through all the applications. There are some disqualifiers, like you altered our legal waiver, which is very unique, that another lawyer thinks they can alter another lawyer's waiver, but hey, that's how it goes, right? That's life. So there are some disqualifiers, but then the grants get rated by a panel of our judges and scored, and the top 5 from that move on to another judging round. And that judging round is an independent panel of judges, and all of your department's demographics get wiped off. They get redacted. So no one knows that Brian filled out the grant for your fire station, whose name I can't remember right now where you're located, but no one would know, even if that judge was in your department, aside from seeing the pictures. But again, we're a little slicker than that.
Redact as much as you can.
Exactly. Yep. You know what I mean? And even in the pictures, we've had pictures with the engines in the background, and CJ's blurred out the location. You know what I mean? So you got to know that orange over white over orange is the FDNY paint scale to even think that could be what it is.
Right.
But you know, so that all gets done, and a lot of the judges are either past winners or people in the fitness community who are picking this. So again, it comes down to that independent panel, and they pick the winner. So by all means, even if you think, you know me, like I want someone from New Jersey to win so bad. So if you're from New Jersey, write a really good application for him. We were close. There was one department, they literally finished second. I felt so bad. It was like 2 points separated them from getting the grant and not.
So the last thing I want to talk about, which is another common topic of our conversations lately, and you just started to lead into it a little bit. You know, one of the common conversations that I have with people when it comes to fitness or getting started in fitness or wherever they are in their journey is finding something that is relatable to them, and B, you know, if they're, well, even if they are going to a gym, finding something that they can follow, that they can apply to, you know, the fire service or just being healthier in general. And I've done all kinds of different stuff over the years. You know, most people that know me know I was a beach body guy for a bunch of years, you know, doing the at-home stuff here, jumping around my basement like a lunatic, and
prison push-ups.
And that's kind of where I started my personal fitness journey. And so lately we've been talking about this street parking community, which, you know, I think it's one of those things that's going to get to the point people are going to be like, are they like sponsoring your podcast or something? No, I'm paying a monthly fee just like everybody else that's out there. All right.
Have you, listen, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. Have you talked about it on the podcast already with somebody or no? Like,
it might have come up in conversation.
It's probably going to come up more because, you know, more people now are involved.
Probably. But, you know, look, and I like to relate it to myself. You know, even when I used to go to the gym, and that was years ago, that I would go to a brick and mortar gym, you know, I was never great at it because I never, you know, I'd walk in. All right, what am I doing today? All right, I'm doing chest and tries. I mean, what are all the other guys doing? Oh, they're doing chest and try. All right, cool. We're gonna chest and try. You know, all right, you know. So I always needed something to follow, something to give me structure, right? And that's what got me hooked on the at-home stuff, you know, because it's structure. You know, on Monday you're doing this. You know, on Tuesday you're doing that. So, you know, recently after, you know, us talking quite a bit and a lot more over the last few weeks, look, I think the question went to you was, what is this street parking thing? Because I honestly thought it was a brick and mortar gym in New Jersey. That's what I thought. I'm like, oh, that's
yes, I own it.
I'm like, that's the functional fitness gym that Pip goes to in Jersey. You know, it's a place. And then I finally asked you about it one day, and you're like, no, it's not a place at all. It's an online community, and they put together all the programming for you and all different types of programming. And you know, I want to get it out there to people because I know there's lots of people listening that feel the same way I do. You know, they kind of want to be told what to do every day with some options, and
that's street parking, right? That is
that sums it up right there.
Definition.
Right?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it, and you can do it at home, and they give you all the applicable scales. I think when it comes to scaling, we spent a lot of time this past year talking at 555 about how to scale workouts to people, trying to educate people that, just because you see something with an RX next to it, it doesn't mean you have to do this workout this way.
Sure.
And street parking really tailors that programming to anyone. I mean, my two little guys at 8 and 10 are doing this vault series with us, 25 workouts, and they get a t-shirt. Yeah. And they are killing it. I worked yesterday. 2 days ago, we did this week's, and the one you're going to do today.
Yep.
And it was pretty horrible, but they did excellent in it. And so I'm able to take that street parking program and tailor it to my kids. Now, maybe I have a little more knowledge in the fitness community than most, but street parking does that for you. They don't. Right. They have specific kids workouts, because I know you have some younger ones too that you can get just for being a member on the website, the members only website. But these are things that they do, and for my wife and I, in the past, timing is so crazy. But I mean, she's been a street parking member for over a year for sure. She's actually almost at her 365. She may have went over it now. We got to check. I know we were close 2 weeks ago, so she's probably over it by now, actually. But we used to not work out together too much.
Right.
We would, but not as much as until street parking came along, because she was able to do a different version of the workout. That the secret is, I didn't tell her to do it.
Right.
I just whispered that, but I didn't. It wasn't me, Pip, her husband, Mr. Mohawk crazy fitness guy, saying no, don't do the barbell, do the dumbbells. Now it's street parking saying that. Yeah. So, and for me personally, that was a big deal too, to have something that I could look at, because I got tired of doing my own thing. Yeah. I like that every day I get something and I get some options. And maybe there was some times where I thought 40-pound dumbbells were what I should be doing all these RX workouts with. And I've quickly learned that 30-pound dumbbells are really what I need to use.
Yeah, for sure.
So
and again, what I like about it is the variation. There's so many variations, and this is why I think it's important for people to know about this, because again, I know there's people out there looking and trying to find something that's going to work for them. You have the option of body weight workouts. You have the option of working out with dumbbells. You have the option of working out with a sandbag if you have a sandbag and you love that. If you do have a full-blown garage gym, you have the ability to do it with your full-blown garage gym. It's all there for you. You just have to pick what you want to do
and how you want to go about doing it. And then on top of that, they have this amazing online community of it's somewhere between 30 and 40,000 people now that there are street parking members. I mean, when I started, there were like 12,000 of us, and I thought that was amazing. But so many subgroups have formed because of that. Local groups, I'm in a New Jersey street parkers group. We have the Fire and EMS subgroup. There's one, I talked about this a lot on Clubhouse, but for hearing impaired people, because that community is humongous in street parking, which it's just something I never thought about, ever thought about. I know they have a law enforcement subgroup, but all that is just more support. And legitimately, if you ask a question on that group, they have something called NFR. I don't know if you've picked up on that one yet.
I have been picking up on that.
Not fitness related.
Yes.
So people ask questions like, NFR, I'm moving to Vermont. Where should I move? Or my husband needs a job in the tech industry and we want to stay in somewhere in Florida. Yeah. Can anyone help? And you just see these people getting blasting with messages, but you have this street parking connection, which is just unreal to me that occurs.
Yeah. And listen, it's one of the things I say to people all the time, because the people that look at other people always, think, it's so easy for you. It's so easy for you. I'm like, what do you mean it's so easy for me? You got the time. I'm like, that's the one I always love. You've got the time. I'm like, whoa, rewind. I make the time. One thing Brian doesn't have a lot of, and that's time.
We all only have 24 hours in a day.
Right.
Some of those have to involve sleep.
Yeah. And I make the time, but, you know, looking to people, like you just said, to inspire you to keep pushing forward. And that's the great thing about the community, right? That's what I like about a lot of the Instagram community that I've connected myself with over the years. And now this whole additional community in those subgroups, like you mentioned, is just another whole, you know, I mean, if you're looking for inspiration, you just gotta be scrolling your feed. And if that doesn't inspire you, nothing's gonna, you know?
I think that's a big lesson too that we learned in the last year for social media, for sure, is that, you know, I've always said 555 is social media for good, because we've definitely gotten bad raps over the years of like, oh, you're showing firefighters working out. That's the worst thing. People don't need blah, whatever. I've gotten it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you look at that and listen, I use social media for positive influences in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And within the last year, a lot has happened. We can all just kind of put that out there.
Yeah.
And you and I honestly don't know this, but you and I may have the complete opposing political views. And that's totally cool, because that's what America's all about, is that we're allowed to disagree with each other.
Yep.
However, how you conduct yourself with your social media based off of your views and your reactions and your negativity means I can pick if I'm going to follow you or not, right? I don't need to interact with you. I just need to not follow you.
Right.
And I know for me, I always thought I had a pretty good base of positivity, but within the last year, I have eliminated almost all that negativity just based off of things like that. And it's just made things better, because I don't want to go on that and get angry or get depressed or I want to go on that and see you doing something good in your life, you know, or two, listen, and don't get me wrong, I'm going to see you fail too.
Sure.
Right. I want to see that failure and you talk about that failure. I mean, I have it hasn't happened in a while. I sound like a dick saying this. It hasn't happened in a while where I failed at a lift, but I also haven't been trying to PR. You know, I haven't been trying to do, you know, get over a 325 back squat, because it's just not what I'm doing now. But I would show those failures in hopes to inspire people to be like, look, I do fail, man. I dropped the weight more than I lifted. So with that kind of being said, it's that community that drives it. And street parking has been a humongous part of getting me through this last year. And being involved in the 555 community, because they are now donating to the grant. I told you guys before, those top 5 finalists go on to the judges. Well, the top 5 grant writers, each one for each grant. So if 2 people write it, you guys can fight it out. I don't care what you do with it. That's up to you. But they get a 6-month street parking membership.
There you go.
Just for filling out the grant and making it to that top 5.
Yep. So another reason to get the grant application in.
6 months of free street parking ain't bad.
Absolutely. No. And listen, we'll wrap it up with that. You know, those of you that are, again, listening to all of this, and you know, maybe you've been following Pip for a while, maybe you've been following myself, or maybe the both of us, and you're like, you know, you learned something today, which I always hope, you know, people do, and you're looking to go check this whole thing out. Just again, Google it, you know, Google street parking, check it out. There's tons of content you can look at out there. And I will tell you that the nice added bonus for the first responder community is there is a discount. So if you know,
and it's a healthy discount. It's not like 5% off, you know.
Yeah. So if you have an ID Me account, which lots of people do, and if you don't, go out there and get it. You know, it's not hard to do. $15 a month. You know, you can't beat that. I'm telling you, the content that they give you for $15 a month,
it's unbelievable. And it is really, and so I'm friends with the owners, you know that. And I'm like, why do you guys keep stop giving away the farm? You know what I mean? Like, and they're doing, and again, the business is doing great, but it's like, my God, like I could never, they just keep doing more. And I'm like, where do you come up with these things? You know, and they have an amazing team too. You know, everybody involved with street parking is just some of the best people. Like, and they speak to you. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like they ignore you as a member.
Yeah. I mean, look, you've recorded your workouts. I've recorded my workouts. I record this podcast. I just said to you, look, I really don't care that your dog's barking. You know, I'm whatever. I'm not going to edit out that 14 seconds of your dog's barking, you know, in the worry that I'm going to lose somebody in in that little bit of time.
Worst audio quality ever.
Right. But
isn't the professional brotherhood? What's professional about this cat?
but the point I'm making is, how what it takes to, if you record yourself exercising and you want to throw it up on social media and edit it or whatever it is, these videos that these guys are putting on their platform to show all these different types of workouts and regressions, the amount of time that's got to go into that is unbelievable, and it's all there for you. So, hey, there we go. We gave him the big plug of the day.
That's it. Big street parking plug. This one's recorded. It's not just a Clubhouse, people.
No, this one is recorded. It's good. It'll be on, definitely be on the podcast. We're not losing out here. So Pip, I appreciate it. Thanks for spending the time to redo what we thought we did.
Version 2.
Right? Yeah, version 2, which is I think version 2 might have been better than version 1. I
think so. We got into more topics. We talked about different stuff. We got to practice. Practice is good. Maybe you should practice. Practice podcasting more and then do it.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll fake everybody again with the little red dot on Clubhouse.
It's recorded.
Hey, this is being recorded. Fake.
You didn't have to say it's being recorded 7 times like you did the other night. Maybe that's why this is better. We had more time to have questions.
Yeah, absolutely. So any just, I guess, one more time, just kind of point everybody to where they can go for the grant, 555, all that good stuff that we talked about.
For sure. All the and you're on a podcast guest and with what the things you're supposed to do, right?
You got it.
So for the grant, for anything 555 Fitness, it's 555fitness.org. We also have several different programs there that you can follow, from level 1 to level 4. We have a bunch of our body weight WODs. The 343 honor WODs are there for the firefighters who lost their life on 9/11. We have a stair climb prep program that our original founder made, which is excellent for anyone looking to do stair climbs. I know right now they're still on hold, but they are going to probably start jumping back into stair climbs again soon. So that's all there, and you can apply for the grant. Our daily workouts are there. You can support some of our partners, like Westbroad Apparel sells our hats and the flag that's behind me.
Big fan of Westbroad.
Big fan. Big fans of Westbroad. Good people from South Carolina. Those guys show up.
Yep.
So all of our partners are listed there. All the fitness equipment partners, if you're looking to purchase any fitness equipment or want some more info, you can reach out to us through the website. Social media is Instagram and Facebook is 555 Fitness. Please feel free to follow those, share your posts of you working out, and use hashtag 555 Fitness to be featured, because that's a huge thing that we do, trying to inspire others that way.
Yep.
If you're really bored and you're looking to follow me on Instagram, I'm at 555pip. You can email me, pip@555fitness.com. And I have a podcast by National Fire Radio called The Size Up, which I haven't really been recording much because there's been a lot of other things going on, but we have to get back into that saddle. Where else? And streetparking.com. Definitely check out Street Parking. If you have questions, Brian's just as versed as I am in this. He's only been a member for about 2 weeks, but that's just how great it is.
Yeah, for sure. And let's not leave out Clubhouse, right? We've mentioned it a few times, but if you're listening to this and you've yet to check out this, new platform, which is right now
an iPhone.
Yep, which is right now only on iOS, iPhone, iPad, all right, something of the sort. Sorry, no Android users, no rebels yet. You got to be part of
may know someone who went out and got an iPhone just to be on Clubhouse. I may know a guy.
I know a guy as well.
I may know a guy who went and did that.
We
FOMO.
both know that guy.
Do you know FOMO yet from Street Parking?
No.
Fear of missing out, FOMO.
Oh, okay.
That's a big street parking one, because they do things where it's like, if you're not there, it's sold out. So you have FOMO. Okay. I think that guy we know had Clubhouse FOMO.
I think he did.
And he went and got an iPhone. So.
I think he did. So if you do have an iPhone and you're looking to get take part in the platform, you can reach out to us as well. We tend to get quite a few invites given to us.
Invites.
Yeah.
Do you know what's bad about that? So I had a few sitting there, so I found some folks and reached out, and it takes a little bit. 'Cause it's like, got an iPhone and you got to explain it a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, I'm down to 1. And then like 2 days later, it's like, you have 7 invites. And I'm like, they know what I'm going to do. Like they're already, the bot is reading me to know that I'm going to find people to get involved with Clubhouse. So,
and on the new update today, not whatever, I will share this with everybody, but just so you're aware, on the new update today, you don't have to put them in your contact list anymore. You can just send it as a phone number, because I'm adding all these people in my contact list. And I'm like,
there's a girl from street parking in the Fire EMS group. And literally I'm like, well, you got to send me your phone number. So I put her in my phone. She's in my phone as street parking firefighter, just because I know I'm going to be there. I send that. And then I get the thing about the update. And it's like, you no longer have to add them to their contacts. I'm like, where were you? Not that she's a bad person. She could be in my phone, but I'm like, where were you 2 minutes ago?
Right. Exactly. It's a whole big, just it's another extension of what we're doing. And those of you that might be interested, I would definitely encourage you to get on, because the community is growing. We're having some amazing conversations. And
it's not, here's something too. It's not, obviously it's not just a firefighter platform.
No,
you can listen to music now. There's a whole bunch of business podcasts. There's relationship podcasts that I've seen now. You name it. They're. I mean, I think you said the other night Bill Gates was in a room, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Like, who doesn't want to listen?
MC Hammer.
Wyclef Jean.
Yep. But I will say, please don't contribute to Brian or Pip's stress. All right. If we send you an invite, you've got to act on that invite, because
I just yelled at somebody today about that.
Nothing drives me battier than that invite sitting there unclaimed, because we can't get it back.
I yelled at a 555 Fitness partner / sponsor, owner of the company, that I'm like, hey man, I sent this Clubhouse app to you like a week ago. You got to accept it. I'm like, it's bothering me that it's just sitting there staring at me. Like, come on, dude. Like, you're supposed to be my boy. Like, just accept it.
Yeah. Adding to our stress. Well, Pip, thanks for making the time and doing this again with me today. I really appreciate it. I think the listeners will as well. And again, just last reminder. Well, not last reminder, because I'll be reminding you more throughout the year. Make sure you are following 555 and get your grant applications in.
Get them in. Appreciate you, homie.
Thank you.
No problem.